Welcome to the Matthew Ray Show, coming to you from Columbus, Ohio. This week in the show, we will be getting you set for this weekend's top games, including the big one here in Columbus between the 9th-ranked Michigan State Spartans and the 3rd-ranked Ohio State Buckeyes. The Buckeyes come into this weekend's game off a win last weekend in Champaign against Illinois. Michigan State, on the other hand, comes in here after a win against Maryland last Saturday up in East Lansing. But the bigger question coming out of East Lansing this week is, will fifth-year senior quarterback Connor Cook play for the Spartans? He has announced that he will, but we will have to see if that comes true Saturday afternoon in the Shoe. In other news, the Buckeyes are led in here to this game by sophomore quarterback J.T. Barrett. In his first game back last week, played pretty well after his OVI arrest. He has, I think, put that behind him and is fully set on the goal at hand this weekend against the Spartans. On the other side, for Michigan State, they come in here led by fifth-year senior Connor Cook. And the reason why we do bring him up and we spotlight him is we do expect him to play and start Saturday. The Spartans also have a couple key threats in L.J. Scott, Aaron Bergeridge, and tight end Josiah Price, which is one of Cook's favorite targets in the red zone. So you'll want to keep that in mind while watching the game Saturday afternoon. Now we're going to go over and we're going to change directions and go into my top 6. Now I have the Clemson Tigers sitting at number 1. Now they are undefeated. So is Ohio State. Ohio State is the defending national champions, we all know. But if you look at who Clemson has played, that stands out more in my mind than Ohio State. Ohio State has had a pretty easy schedule outside of Penn State and Virginia Tech this year. So I gave the number 1 nod to Clemson. I mean, you have a win over Notre Dame and you have a win over FSU. My second team is Alabama. Now, Ohio State fans, I know what you're thinking. How can you put a one-loss Alabama team over an undefeated Ohio State team? Same thing with Clemson. They've played better people. I understand they have a loss, but their resume is a lot better than Ohio State's. Now, after this weekend, that could change completely. If Ohio State gets the win on Saturday against, obviously, Michigan State, most likely how Alabama does, Ohio State, in my rankings, will jump to 2nd or 1st, whatever happens in the other games. Now, my third team, obviously, is Ohio State. My fourth team, surprisingly, is Oklahoma State. You might think, how is Notre Dame not up there? Well, Notre Dame has a loss. We'll get to Notre Dame also in a second. But Oklahoma State has beaten a very good TCU team. And now TCU has fallen recently. I mean, you have Dotson was hurt a little bit. Boykin was hurt and may not play this weekend. We'll have to still see. But I believe with that win against TCU, Oklahoma State should be up there. My fifth team is Iowa, out of the Big Ten. They've played pretty well on both sides of the ball lately. So, and the interesting thing is going to be to see if I keep them there after this upcoming week. Now, my sixth team is Notre Dame. They have the loss to Clemson in Death Valley. I know the conditions during that game with the rain were not very good, but I still think the Hawkeyes are better than Notre Dame. Now we're going to get you set for this weekend's games. Besides the one here in Columbus, Oklahoma is taking on TCU down in Norman. That's going to be a big game to watch to see if Oklahoma can continue their momentum after their big win down in Waco last Saturday night. And Baylor will be in Stillwater taking on the Cowboys in Oklahoma State. That'll be a very interesting matchup to see how Baylor rebounds after their tough loss. Now we're going to take a look at the college football rankings, the official ones, just 1 to 6 and how they rank them. Clemson still on top at 1, Alabama at 2, Ohio State at 3, Notre Dame at 4, Iowa at 5, and Oklahoma State at 6. Now, I agree with some of those rankings, obviously, but the committee is looking at total resume and, I believe, strength of schedule. So we will have to see next week of what their standings look like. Now, switching directions, we're going to talk a little college soccer here. So, this previous Monday, the NCAA released their bracket for the NCAA tournament, and the Wake Forest Demon Deacons out of the ACC received the number 1 overall ranking, and they had an unbelievable year in Winston-Salem. I mean, they play in the ACC, and that is a very tough conference. You got Notre Dame, you got Clemson, you got Syracuse, North Carolina, and all of those teams they beat in the regular season, and they did lose to Notre Dame in the ACC semifinals, but still got to regain that number 1 seed. I would be in trouble if I did not give my boy Noah Hutchins a shout out. Plays for UK, and UK is also in the tournament. So I will be keeping my eye on some of these college soccer games going on in the next couple weeks. We would like to thank you for watching our show this week, and would love if you would give me a follow on Twitter at Riggedy Rice Jr. We look forward to seeing you guys next week.